What's up, YouTube? Motivation and Travel coming at you from Colombia, and my friend, Coach Kareem, all the way from the beautiful country of Jordan. He is a life coach and a business owner of Red Pill Arabic. He's been life coaching for the past 3 years. He has a bachelor's business administration and several degrees from Oxford University. Welcome, Coach Kareem.
You're most welcome, bro. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for coming on here and sharing. And one thing we do is we have a very similar path, is that we both run channels to help men become better versions of themselves. And we're all never there. There's no matter how much education you have and how many things that you've invested in yourself, there's always room for improvement. No matter how much you study and no matter how much you practice discipline, there's always that further edge to go. So that being said, Coach Kareem, what got you into doing this, coaching people? How did this begin? Where was the genesis of this idea?
Okay, that's a very long story. I'll try to make it short.
Give me the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm readaholic. You can say I consume knowledge like a maniac since long time. Like since I was like around 20, that's around 15 years ago. And I like to deep dive into things from scientific point of view. Like if I want to understand something, I can spend like 1 to 6 months just doing research about this thing until I really understand it in a better way of most people. So I used to read a lot about philosophy, about sciences, about like several subjects. And one time, one of my friends sent me a video of one guy talking about intersexual dynamic, generally speaking. His name is Coach Red Pill, Gonzalo Liera. I don't know if you know that guy.
No, I never heard of him.
He's a guy originally from Chile, and he's an American, originally from Chile, and he lives in Ukraine right now. He's like in the war zone. So he got a huge channel, like a big channel on YouTube with over than 400 video talking about intersexual dynamic, and he catch my attention. He's old guy, like he's over 50. So he catch my attention explaining the intersexual dynamic about female nature, male nature, and how like the let's say the dance between two genders, like negotiating each other to get, for the man to get most sex that they can, for the woman to get most resources and long-term security that she can. So his video make a lot of sense to me. Like I got never ever get anyone who talk about intersexual dynamic and he make a lot of sense. Like he really makes sense. So I started digging deep more into intersexual dynamic, and I'm interested in like human behavior since very long time. I like to read about human behavior because human in general always been a mystery to me. It's the more complex creature in the whole world, or in the whole universe, as you see. So I started digging up more and more. I started to take lectures in Stanford University, in Ontario, Toronto University by Dr. Jordan Peterson, and a lot of other professors talking about psychology and behavior. Start to read a lot of books. And in that time, I was doing a lot of public speak in the international community, as like we mentioned of the record. I was a council of intellectual conversation group, and I was a public speaker. So I started to talk about such subject between a lot of intellectuals. like highly intellectual people in UAE, in Dubai. So that was so interesting, and I was teaching people how to deal with each other. And one of the organizers, the ambassadors of the whole like group, she told me like, what you are doing is life coaching. And I said, no, I'm not a life coach. She said, but what you are doing is life coaching. You are teaching people a life skills. I said, okay, that's interesting. So how can I get a degree of that? How can I be a professional of doing that? And I start like researching, check the Oxford University, have some programs about life coaching, about consultation business in general. So I round up, like end up getting a lot of, let's say, knowledge reserve and courses about that. And I started my website around near 1 year ago. I'm a content creator since almost 4 to 5 years. And I started doing it professionally. In the beginning, in the first 1 year, let's say, I used to do it for free,
Mhm.
and then I improved a lot. And it was one of my friends. He stopped me. He said, "Like you are very, very fucking professional. Like, why are you doing such things for free? Why are you doing consultation for free? Like, get paid for it." And that light a bulb in my mind, you know?
So
Like,
how did you start to market it to where you started like making money on it? How did you transition from doing it for free to making people were paying you for that?
yeah, I had a huge platform on Facebook in 2018, 2019, and
How big was that platform? How when you say huge?
120,000 follower.
Uh-huh. Wow.
That was 5 years ago.
Right.
So people like what I write. I used to write like a lot of post article in a professional way and scientific way with references, with studies, with a lot of like great arguments. So people used to love me.
Were
And
they in Arabic or were they in English? Because I know you speak several languages, right? You speak
yeah,
like Arabic and English and you
Russian, little bit, and little bit Spanish, poquito Spanish.
okay, very good. All right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So I used to write in Arabic, and people loved my content. Like some of my article have more than 500,000 read,
Wow.
500,000 view in the Middle East.
Mhm.
So I start thinking about opening a channel, starting a channel on YouTube. And I did my first video in 2020 in March, I guess, my first video. So to transfer the audience from a platform to another platform is much easier to start from the beginning, from zero. So
Yeah, because if you already have something that,
mm,
120,000, that's a lot. That's substantial. And
yeah,
do you still have that many people or even more in Facebook?
no, Mark didn't like me. So they
He,
banned all my pages on Facebook.
wow. Wow,
Yeah,
that son of a bitch. Wow,
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
So, but you still were able to get people to start going and paying for your services because you already had that structure, that foundation that you were a professional and you knew how to talk to people. That's very interesting. Now, what an extraordinary life you have. Now, how often? I know you said we had by the way, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, we had a private consultation. I have hired Coach Kareem to do this because I'm going to get something out of it, but I figured my audience should get something out of it too. Now, let me ask you, Coach Kareem. You said something that is very interesting. I want to touch on. You said women are looking for resources and men are looking for sex. So we talked about transactional type relationships. Now,
Yeah,
we both remember the dear late great Kevin Samuels. Okay.
yeah,
Very good guy, great guy. We both agree with his ideology. Now, one
mhm,
of the things he said he said, I'm talking about marriage. He said, don't get a wife, hire your wife. In other words, if I have a business, I'm going to hire her. She's going to help me in my business. She's going to help me grow. And so we both have the same kind of goals. Now, that's almost like a business. That's almost like, what would you say to someone says, oh, well, she should be with you just for genuine burning desire or for love or because she wants to be with you. What would you say that? What would you say to people that that's a transactional relationship as opposed to a real relationship? Let's touch on that briefly if we can.
Yeah, sure. Look, you have to be a little bit pragmatic in your life, especially as a man. Women can afford to be delusional. You as a man, you can't afford it because you don't have boobs and ass. Like you don't have this sexual leverage that will get you what you want. Like your value, your sexual market value, and the value, the social value for you as a man is connected with your achievement, socioeconomic status, with your personality, charisma, a lot of things. So you have to understand on deep level that all transaction happen between two partners, two parties, is a transactional relationship. When you go buy a car, it's transactional relationship. When you go have a drink, it's transactional relationship. So nothing does not have mutual benefit into the two parties' eyes. So in that sense, even the marriage as a relationship, it is transactional. You are fulfilling something, you are fulfilling a gap in her personality, or like fulfilling one of the desires that she have, which is long-term security, which is let's say children, the paternity instinct, like the fertility biological clock is ringing. She need to like stop that. She need to have kids, and you need to pass your genes. You need to have sexual access. You need to have an emotional support. For example, a cheerleader, as Coach Gonzalo used to say, you need a cheerleader in your life. So it is transactional to some degree, and there's nothing wrong about it. It's like you don't have to feel wrong about that. It's all transactional. There is a great book. It's called The Selfish Gene. Like you can read. He's saying, I do not agree 100% with that, but he has a sense of a truth, which is even when you do charity, you do not do it purely for the poor people. That fulfill and changes the image. How do you look to yourself? That rise up the image of yourself in your eye. So it does have some transactional benefits for both person. So there's nothing wrong about that.
What is your opinion of the statement, marriage is a business?
Legal marriage or marriage as a concept?
Legal marriage.
Legal marriage is a business. They are making like more than $50 billion per year for the family court. So right. It is totally a business. Yeah.
Well, very good point. I think I also want to touch on some other things that I've seen a lot of my friends get involved with. A lot of these guys, they come down to Colombia and they never had any kind of attention from a beautiful woman. All of a sudden, a beautiful woman is giving this all of its attention. And what happens is these guys will try to bring these girls out, they make a hoe into a housewife. So they bring these girls out of the streets and they give them all this money. Then the girl will say, oh, I need to pay for my, I know you're shaking your head, but I want to hear your input and your wisdom on this because there might be somebody who's watching this who's thinking like that. And they meet this beautiful girl and they say, oh, let's bring her out of the street. Let me take her and let me change her. I can save her. I can save this hoe and I can bring her in my house and I can pay all her bills and she don't ever have to work out on the street. She don't ever have to work in the strip club ever again.
Mm.
what's the delusion involved with that and getting involved with it? How do you keep yourself protected from that? And what would you say to someone who's maybe dealing with something like that?
Well, you have like basically you have to understand the impact of sexual relationship on the female psyche, and that's like very well documented, by the way.
Let's discuss that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I talked about that like a lot in my channel in Arabic and in English language, by the way.
Yes.
There is a great study, which is a huge data study, done by Professor Nicholas Wolfinger. He's a psychology professor in Utah University in the United States, and he collected data along 30 years of the United States population, 30 years of data of marriage, and he found out that there is a correlation, a strong correlation between the female promiscuity and the long-term marriage stability and happiness. So in this huge study, which is 30 years study, he found out that the girls get married virgin is less than 5% nowadays in the United States, and it's usually like I predict that it's usually Mormons and let's say the Orthodox Christians and Muslims and Jews, the Orthodox Jews, which is the conservative part, the conservative minority of the United States. So he found out that if the woman was virgin, if the female was virgin when she got married, she never been with a man before, the probability of happy, stable marriage will be around 80%. 80%. When she pass the fifth sexual partner in her life, the probability will decrease below 25%. So with every single man that female get into relationship with, he will leave an impact. You can search, guys, you can search the womb imprint. Every man will have an imprint in a woman's psyche, psychological imprint and physiological imprint, by the way, on the woman that will, let's say, ruin her psyche to some degree.
So let's say a girl like if a girl's in a strip club, they go to the champagne room, that's $200. Then they say they want to do whatever sexual, thing for $500 more. The guy, he's a rich guy, he pays it. So we're talking about maybe like in a month, we're talking about maybe 40, 50, 60 guys, almost triple, so you're telling me, even though she's going out, she's doing this maybe like a 30-minute or 1 hour, and that leaves a psychological imprint on her for the rest of her life and affects all of her relationships.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Is it even possible for her to have a normal relationship as you and I, as a man, like how we look at loyalty and that kind of thing? Is that even possible?
We are different creatures. Like
right.
On a neurochemical level, when you have sex as a man, your brain will release oxytocin, which is the love, the emotional bonding hormone, but the level of testosterone that you have in your blood will dysfunction the functionality of the oxytocin. So you do not get emotionally bonded through sex. We do not have that as men. But for women, she get attached emotionally through sex. The oxytocin do that, like that's on very basic biological and neurological level. You can't suppress that. That's biology. When she have more oxytocin, guy after guy, like man after man,
right,
like the receptors of oxytocin, which is the love, the emotional bonding hormone, the receptors will be desensitized. Desensitized. It works actually like, you know, the heroin addict, they'll start to raise the dose because it's not affecting anymore. Like after 1-2 months, they will start to raise the dose, raise the dose, raise the dose, because it's not working. It's not working like it used to work before. So it's very, very hard to have a stable emotional relationship with these hoes.
And you talk about this in depth. If someone's watching this and they want to look to see where, is there a particular video where you talk about this in depth, where on your channel that you could refer and you could share with the people?
Yeah, I guess I talked about that in several videos, but one of them I do not remember the topic, but I can send it to you. But the link of the video, like to leave it in the description if you want.
Yes, please. Because, you know, sometimes when you talk to somebody, they don't want to listen. But when you actually, as a man, when you talk to another man and you actually break down the science, and you look at the science and you look at to see like what you just discussed, like the receptors. So it's not that she doesn't want to, correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying it's not that she doesn't want to have an emotional pair bonding. It's that she literally cannot, because
unable.
It's been just burnt out of her through hundreds and hundreds of men that she's been with. And that is never, ever going to change. And, you know, the sad thing is, it's like these girls are so young and you see this kind of thing. And so that's a really good thing, a really good point. So what I'll do is during this, I'll put it under the description. I'll put the link that you talk about this and you go into depth. So
by the way, in my website, there is a studies store. There's a page in my website. It's called the Studies Store. And you can find over than 50 scientific reference regarding all of subjects. The promiscuity is one of them.
Promiscuity. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. So you kind of answered the question already. So let's say a man, if he has 500 or 1,000 women, it's not going to affect him because of the testosterone is going to stop it from the pair bonding thing from happening. Is that correct?
Yeah. Because you have to understand that human female by biology is wired to be monogamous. Man by biology is wired to be polygamous. And the mechanism, like I was reading one of the studies yesterday, the neurological study, like bioneurological study, and they mentioned that monogamy need sets of hormones working together. The feeling to be with one partner, they need sets of hormones to work together, and this usually exists on the mammals females. In the mammals females, we are one of the mammals, like human. In the mammals females, they have this set of hormone functioning to make her pair bond with one man, and all men will disappear from her eye. So the female who's connected with several men, that's against her biology, that's against her hard wiring. So we can prove that scientifically. And look at the history. Like 8,000 years ago, there is a huge genetic study. It is on my website in the study store, mentioned that 8,000 years ago, the average man who reproduced, like around 45% of men reproduced only. The majority of men did not reproduce among the human history. The men who reproduced, they reproduced with 17 women. Every single man who reproduced, like around 6,000 BC. Every man who reproduced with 17 women. So it is usually in the human history that men will reproduce with several women. That's very usual, very acceptable. among all, by the way, all religion before, let's say, the modern church, because it's mentioned in the Bible, such as King Solomon, a lot of masculine figures, like a good people, uh, they have a lot of women around. So
Now,
that's natural.
is that, and I don't know what the laws are in Jordan. Is that something that's legal in Jordan? Is that something that you're considering for you, or?
Yeah, it's legal in all Muslim Arabic country. It is legal to have up to 4 wives.
And it's not taboo like it is in the United States and in Europe. Is that correct?
It is not a taboo, but it is not practiced as people think about the Islamic countries. People, like, when they meet a new Muslim, oh, how many wives do you have? It is not common. It is, in my country, it is less than 7%, less than 6%, near 6%.
You've got to have a lot of money to do something like that. Then it's not something.
Yeah, you must have like 2 homes, for example, or 3 homes or 4 homes.
Right. Obviously, you don't want to be. Oh, looks like it's gonna. I'm gonna cut off here in like 10 minutes. I just got a little link that went and showed me a little pop up here. So we got about 10 minutes to wrap up. So yeah, if anything else you'd like to discuss, or some of the challenges that you've been seeing men face as you've been coaching. Do you coach mostly people Americans, or is it fellow people? It's both?
Yeah.
Okay, and what have you seen the common issue? It seems to be the problem now that the men have been struggling with.
Well, usually it's a little bit different between the Arab world and the West. The West have a lot of structured pressure on masculinity. They have like a real huge structured pressure on masculinity. You know, the toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it's horrible over there.
Yeah, it is. So people usually, like men, usually have that struggle from accepting his masculine traits, because the society is shaming him for masculine traits, for being territorial, for example. Oh, you are insecure. You have trust issue. Why don't you let me wear G-string and go outside? No. So by your nature as a man, as a male, as a mammal male, you have to be territorial, like towards your female, your properties, your everything. Look at even in the animal kingdom. Can you go near any female of the lioness of the lion? Can you go near anyone? He will chop your head off. No, that's forbidden area. My female is my female. My territory is my territory, and we have that tendency as a biological males. You have to be territorial. You have to have what they call it is protective jealousy. No. That's like that's clothes is not acceptable. You're not going out like flashing half of your boobs and like wearing this very tight like leggings, and no, that's so revealing. I do not accept that. Of course, the boundary, like the boundary will be different from culture to culture, from religion to religion, but they all have the basic biological territorial or being territorial tendency that's ingrained in our like brain as a male. You can't shame me from my nature. Like you can't shame me for being like naturally male and doing what human male do through thousands of years of history.
Yeah, it's, and I think that's you're so many people that need to be coached, and that's another thing I wanted to ask is how does one transition if they don't have you had a lot of followers, 120,000. They don't have, what would you say to someone who just wants to be a life coach and wants to start getting paid for it? How do you transition from, if you don't have a platform, where do you start from, transition from where you're at zero and then start getting paid for it?
Well, you have to work in
5 minutes, like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you have to work in two dimension, which is building your audience and building your knowledge and coaching techniques.
So investing into yourself.
Of course, and building your audience on any social media platform. I did a huge break. I broke the algorithms of TikTok. I started my channel, and on the 3rd of September. In 30 days, I got a near 13 million view in less than 1 month.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, do you have a mentorship program where you actually go and you have like an inner circle or a tribal circle where you have, or do you have any where you're coaching men like any, maybe a monthly fee, or are you part of another type of group that does that? Because I know your network is your network.
Yeah, I'm a member of a lot of men online community, which is like there's my friend Abu American. He have his own community. I'm a part of the men online community of John MLD, my friend Jonathan from Modern Life Dating. My own, I did not build my own yet. Usually, I have which is the membership in my YouTube channel. If you have a diamond membership, you will have 30 minutes every month with me. Diamond
One-on-one?
membership, one-on-one. Yeah. If you
And
have a diamond
how much
membership,
is that?
that's $50 subscription.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, if you ever, I'm definitely considering your to be a diamond member. Coach Kareem, we got to wrap up because we're running out of time. But I like you, Coach Kareem. You got a great energy.
Thank you.
It's been an honor to speak with you. You are a scholar and a very intelligent man. I enjoyed speaking with you. I enjoyed our private session, and I'm looking forward to speaking you with again. And hopefully,
Yeah, sure.
hopefully, inshallah, I'll say that. And when I go to the ancient city of Petra, I'm going to go to I think it's Wadi Rum where the 7 sacred pillars of wisdom, where Lawrence of Arabia wrote the book, the 7 sacred pillars of wisdom. That I'll be able to meet you in person. But I'm looking forward to speaking to you again, and I thank you for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me. Yeah, we can do it. We can do it again and again.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, I'm going to be looking for, if you send me that link, I'll put that in the, let me go ahead and stop the recording.